So hey everybody, good afternoon. It's about 4:30 p.m. on your Thursday afternoon. Hope your day is going great. Have been working pretty hard on a good weather analysis for you as tonight begins our first chance of showers and maybe some thunderstorms for some of us, depending where you are around the region. And I'm going to show you those areas before we talk about tomorrow night, which is the event we have been talking about all week, and a couple of factors that determine what we're going to get tomorrow. The severity there takes a few steps to understand whether what we will see all of the things we've been talking about as possibilities or not. The bottom line is that hasn't really changed. There are some factors, but I'm going to give you the setup so you'll know what to watch for, and I'll be watching it with you tomorrow as well. Friends, meet Renee Welliver LaRosen, my friend and our newest sponsor for severe weather season this year. Renee is your trusted real estate agent at Homeland Realty in Adrian, Missouri. She brings expertise in homes, land, and commercial properties. I can tell you Renee is dedicated to making your real estate journey smooth and successful. Great person to call if you have questions about any of the above. 816 215 4746. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Renee Welliver LaRosen, realtor at Homeland Realty, sponsoring severe weather coverage as we head into our first significant severe weather event, showing up in some fashion tomorrow. But let's take things one step at a time. Let's do severe weather outlooks for today, first of all, as we are going to talk about this a little bit as we move through the evening tonight. So here is today's. This is for today. This is not tomorrow, just to be clear. Severe weather outlook. So we have that slight risk there. Hutchinson, Wichita, just not quite to Chanute and Coffeyville. On the Kansas side, as we get over here into eastern Kansas, we're going to be in the marginal risk and general thunderstorms as we get over here into west central Missouri. I think this is pretty accurate, but let's go ahead and cover this for you people tonight. Probability of a tornado really starts to pick up south of the Kansas state line, but we do have a not zero risk that's going to come up as far as Emporia with this wave that I will show you tonight. Wind, on the other hand, we do have probability for severe wind covering Hutchinson all the way up to Emporia, Wichita as well with these storms. I think we will see some strong wind gusts over here into east central Kansas, maybe a few cross state line over into west central Missouri as well. Severe hail outlook should be confined down there to south central Kansas with this wave tonight. So that is our tonight setup. Let's move over into Friday while we're talking about severe weather outlooks. Not a significant change from this morning. You can see that the 3 out of 5, the orange enhanced risk area, I think this has picked up a little bit further to the north since this morning. So we're definitely picking up St. Joseph and Maryville. This has crept a little bit further east. So now we're talking about you folks in Chillicothe as well. So this is picking up the western third of Missouri in terms of severe weather outlook for tomorrow. So as I mentioned in the last couple of live streams, all modes of severe weather are possible. Let's go ahead and talk about that tornado outlook. We do still need to keep talking about it. I'm going to show you some probability on whether this comes together in this way or not to lend us that probability for tornadoes or not tomorrow night. But the ingredients are in the picture. Whether they all come together at the right time is going to depend on what happens tonight and tomorrow morning. But we're going to leave tornado outlook in the picture for right now because we are talking about some discrete supercell formations. So giving us a 5 to 9% probability of a tornado throughout this event because we have 2 systems that come through tomorrow night. Both of us now can bring us that tornado threat. So that is still in the picture, as is severe wind gusts, really covering the entire forecast area, and the probability of severe hail. Also, definitely, more money on wind and hail for me out of this event. So let's go through some forecast data. We're going to back all the way up to starting with tonight. So I'm picking things up between 9 and 11 o'clock tonight. All right, this will be our clue. Things start to kick off out here. This is right here along the I-35 corridor. So we're out here by Emporia, headed up to Topeka and north of Topeka. So we're going to see some little cells of thunderstorms crop up. They're going to stay up here in northeast Kansas and northwest Missouri. So you folks in St. Joseph, Falls City, Auburn, Maryville, you get in on things the quickest. But I do think a few cells will pop through around the I-70 corridor here, picking up Topeka, Kansas City, and off towards maybe the Marshall, Missouri side. This is between like midnight and 3 a.m. So not going to bother all of us. East Central Kansas, West Central Missouri, going to be a pretty boring night. Here is where things get interesting in terms of what I'll be paying attention to bright and early with you tomorrow morning. So this is our wave of showers and thunderstorms working our way about 4 or 5 a.m. What happens with this and how long these last? You guys can see it as I back it up. Here we are about 4 a.m., 5, 6 a.m. Most data, and everything is different, which is significant, most data has these weakening, as you guys can see. They start off a little stronger over here around Eureka, Toronto, Fredonia, up towards Emporia, towards Linden, working on Ottawa. They start off stronger, but by the time they make it over here state line, this particular data shows that these are starting to fade out. So all of us with severe weather anxiety hope that they don't, that they hold together and we get some good convective activity all through this area out of this morning round of showers and possibly some embedded thunderstorms. We hope that, right? Because that's also going to make cloud cover stick around and prevent the atmosphere, from the lower atmosphere, from heating up and kicking off stronger to severe stuff later in the day. So big variable. I am not sold on this, that this will absolutely fade out and we won't see too much. Some models suggest that this hangs on and really makes a difference, which means that the afternoon storms, which I'm going to pull up next, will not encounter such a favorable environment with all those ingredients present for severe weather as we go through the evening. So through the afternoon, here comes a little shot of showers with a couple of embedded thunderstorms between 1 and 3. I think that's really variable, and those showers may have been ongoing through the late morning and into the early afternoon anyway. But just be aware for that for the afternoon. Here is where I think we start to pay attention, and I'm presenting this to you as one possibility. This may happen if, and especially if, we get a break in that cloud cover. If that morning stuff tapers off earlier, cloud cover doesn't hang around, the sun punches through, well, that just lends another ingredient, raises that instability for tomorrow afternoon. So if that happens, then this is our scenario maybe between 5 and 7 p.m. So this is showing you about 6 p.m. These are cells that we need to watch for. These smaller discrete cells cropping up really along state lines. So we're talking about Lamar and out here toward the Nevada area right on state line. So very eastern Kansas, very western Missouri may kick things off. We're going to be watching this for sure between about 5 and 7 p.m. if this happens. So if we have a sunny afternoon, for sure going to be watching for this. So this data suggests that that cluster of cells really starts to sweep across to the east before a cold front starts to move in from the northwest. And you guys can see what that starts to do is drive all of these smaller discrete cells off to the east southeast. So we'll have a little bit of a break. I'm looking here between, say, 9 and 11 p.m. Well, this is suggesting right about 10 p.m. before this little bit more linear threat starts to work through, and all of this direction will be northwest to southeast. I have to think about that as I'm saying it. Northwest to southeast. I did that right. So yeah, so there is our bigger threat for the evening. Little bit more confident in that one. Even if the first one fizzles out, doesn't really happen. This is a significant cold front that's still going to encounter some pockets of instability, even if it's less. Which, to be honest with you, those numbers have trended down a little bit today. So not out of the woods down, but less. So I'm really hopeful that both of these systems just encounter some limited instability, not widespread, which I think still gives us some scattered strong to severe storms. But the worst case scenario is that both of these will come to fruition. That means here in the earlier evening around 6 p.m. we have these more discrete cells. So we're talking about possibly some large hail, some damaging winds, but that tornado threat coming to fruition. Before later in the evening, a little bit more linear threat. So we're talking about more winds, still talking about hail, and a little bit less tornado threat, but it's still there. So especially as this data starts to suggest that this quasi-linear system, if it does form that, starts to break apart into these smaller cells. So there's a lot of stuff to watch with this. There's a lot of reason to be optimistic that we will just have some wind gusts and a few strong storms, maybe a couple severe without the big widespread threat. but I hope that you guys can see why I am leaving all that data up as suggested, as likely possibilities. So again, that tomorrow afternoon, I think will be really determinative in terms of what starts to set up for the evening. So I will be watching that here with you for sure. We will go through it together tomorrow evening, talking about all the ingredients. I will pull up the big radar here with you guys, and you can watch along with me telling you what is headed your direction and when you are in the clear. So I think that does it for Thursday night. Not a huge change from this morning. That is how things look. We'll pick it up again first thing in the morning. Have a great night.